Hi, Sharon here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm cracking on through a series where I'm helping you to work through the ABRSM Music Theory and Practice Grade 1, and we're now on to Section D, the Treble Clef. So go ahead and grab your Music Theory and Practice workbook. And also, if you go to sharonbill.com, there are loads of resources there to help you. So if you go to my website, you'll find some free PDF information sheets, and they will accompany this series. And so we'll be referring to sheet D. It's available in US letter or A4, and it'll enclose all the information that you need to work through your ABRSM workbooks. You can also find links to all my YouTube video tutorials there, and you can access information about the books that I have available, particularly if you're aiming to take your exam. There's an exam technique guidebook that I've written, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory exam. For grades 1, 2 and 3 at present. Grades 4 and 5 will be available shortly, and that will help you to make the most of your exam experience. And so we're going to crack on with grade 1D. And so this is referring to page 8 in your ABRSM workbook. So go ahead and grab that and find information sheet D. So I shall write D here, and we're on to the treble clef. You will need a sharp pencil and an eraser. Now the treble clef is primarily associated with notes that are in the high register. So this will be mostly for instrumentalists that play high register instruments such as the flute, the clarinet, the oboe, the trumpet, or also things like the higher register of the piano or a keyboard. And so we're learning the notes that are written in this treble clef. It's a little bit tricky to draw at first. So exercise 1, they've given you some space in your workbook to practice drawing this treble clef. I have, however, given you a little bit of a practice at that, and on your information sheet that you can download from my website, if you haven't got it, go to sharonbill.com, it'll be there. I've given you some faint treble clefs to draw first of all, to just give you a bit of a practice go before you just go for it on your workbook. It's also sometimes referred to as the G clef. That's not commonly used, but it's also known as the G clef. And that's because it's sort of centered around the note G line, which is your second line. And so if you see these faint treble clefs that I've positioned here for you, if you sort of give yourself a little blob on this second line up, that will get you started on drawing your treble clef. They're really pretty little things, but they're a bit tricky to get your fingers around straight away. So begin on that second line and kind of spiral round. We're going sort of round and round like a Swiss roll. Loop the loop at the top and then straight down the middle like an umbrella with a hook on the end. Let's have another go. So you've got your little dot, your little blob on the second line. Spiral round and round, keep going round. Loop the loop at the top and then straight down the centre with a little hook on the end. So by all means, press pause and have a go at a few of those until you feel like you're starting to get more accustomed to drawing that. And then you're ready to jump to page 8 in your ABRSM Theory and Practice workbook, and then you can just go for it here on this piece of stave that they've given you. I would suggest that you begin with your dot on that second line there. That sort of helps you to just centre where your position is. Spiral round and round, loop the loop at the top, straight down the middle. Oh, I've gone a bit off there myself. There we go, just to centerise that. Okie dokie, let's have one more go. So round and round, loop the loop at the top, straight down the middle and hook. you know, there are variations on a theme, so long as we get it reasonably accurate. Okay, so we're going to look at the notes that this clef represents. Now, as notes progress up this ladder system, up this stave, we go in alphabetical order. The range of notes is always A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and it keeps rotating around that series of notes. There is no H, I, J. It only ever gets to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then the cycle starts again. And if you think about, because there are only 7 notes, every time we come back full circle, we're on our 8th note, and we call that an octave. So each A is followed by another A, 8 notes or an octave apart, and so on for each of those notes. However, rather than just working out step by step each note, there's a little system, if you just refer to your sheet, where if we just remember the notes on the lines and the notes on the spaces, there's little poems that will help us to remember those. So if you remember the spaces on the treble clef, the notes will spell face. So the bottom space is F, the second space is A, the third space is C, and the fourth space is E, so face. And so in between those notes, excuse me, in between those notes we've got the notes on the lines. So we've got E, G, B, D, F. And so you can create a little poem to help you there. If you think every good boy deserves football, or let's think every green bus drives fast, whatever it is that helps you to remember those notes. And then you know that every E is the first line, every good is the second, every good boy is the third line, every good boy deserves is the fourth line, every good boy deserves football is the last line at the top. So that's the way of remembering the lines and spaces in a little sequence. But remember, as they step up, we will be going line, space, line, space, line, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. And you can see here, we've got F here and we've got F here. There are lots of Fs and they're all positioned 8 notes apart from each other. And if you count, including this, line, space, line, so we've got space, line, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know that they're an octave apart. And so if we want to extend past this system, if you think, we know this line is F, so we've got E, F. Here we're going to have G. And then if we want to extend further, we're going to need a ledger line, which we covered in section C. So the next note up from G will be A. If we want to just squish in here, just below that E, the space just touching the bottom of the stave will be D. And if we want to extend further, we will need a ledger line. And that's C, a bit of a squish there. So they are the notes that we're going to be referring to. So I suggest that you keep that to hand to refer back to until you're feeling a little bit more confident, and then you can try and work out the notes using this system, every good boy or face, just to help you. And then you can just double check your answers by referring back to this sheet. So let's have a little look at exercise 2. So now you're going to name the notes. It's common practice to always use capital letters when naming notes in music, so just stick to capital letters. And so press pause, have a little go answering these yourself, and then come back into the video and I'll go through them with you. Do your best to sort of try and work it out for yourself rather than just working through with me. It's better to learn by your mistakes, and refer to the sheet D whilst you need to, but then perhaps just try a few without, just to test yourself, to get used to working it out without referring back to the sheet. It's okay to make mistakes, it's always in pencil. We can always erase our mistakes and have another go. So I'll come back to you in a moment when you've had a go at those. So I'm guessing you've had a little go at those, and now I'll go through these with you. So just for the sake of ease, I will first of all address all of the notes that are on a line, so we can just keep using that poem. So we know, if I just show you this sheet again, we're going to be using every good boy deserves football to work those notes out. So let's look at the ones on the line. So the second line, every good, so that will be G. Every good boy deserves football, top line is F. Bottom line, every, so that will be E. Jumping ahead, we'll miss the ledger line for now and just go to this one on the middle line. Every good boy, that's B. And then here we are, the next to the last one, every good boy deserves, that will be D. Okay, so that's all of the lines. Now we will look at the spaces, and so face is our little remembrance system for the space notes. Space and face rhyme, so that's easy to remember. So they've given us this first one, F-A. So now spelling face, F-A-C. The next one, F-A-C-E. Just skipping this ledger line for the moment, skipping this one that's outside of the line system and just jumping to the last one, the bottom line, if it spells face, so that will be F. So we've just got these few little outside the normal rule to help to work out those. We just need to sort of extend our knowledge a little bit further. So remember, on your sheet you can annotate it the same way. We've just extended those notes because we know that the top line is F, so the next space will be G, the next line, will be A, so it goes F, G, A in step, and then extending it downwards, we know the bottom line is E, so working backwards in step, we know we've got D just in the space outside of the stave, and then the ledger line at the bottom is C. So here we know that that bottom ledger line is C because we've gone E, D, C counting down, and then here we know that the top line is F, and so one above that must be G. Here we know that the bottom line is E, so one below D, I've just given you the answer, one below E is D, because we've got our ledger line C, then D, then E. You just have to work it out from a point that you already know. So there we go then, I think that's everything. We've done that. And so that's all of the treble clef notes. We will always keep coming back to these. Remember, all of this grade is accumulative, so when we get on to later sections, we're still going to be referring back to the knowledge that we've gathered in the sections so far. So just sort of keep bearing these in mind, and then we'll move on to the bass clef next video. I hope that's been helpful to you. I hope you're enjoying it. I certainly am. I absolutely love doing music theory, and I hope that I can share that joy with you. Please do go to sharonbill.com to access all of the resources that are available to you there, and give me a like and a subscribe. That will be fab, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.